friends, it's Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, back for episode... Oh, wait a minute. I know what episode it is. So I'm going to ask him. Do you know what episode it is, dear?
I think it's about...
Okay, I'm going to ask him a question. How old are you?
39.
It is not episode 39. Okay, last time was episode 73, so how old are you?
40.
It's 74. He's trying to be elusive. Yeah, that's the word. How is everybody? It's hot. It's humid. It's Florida. Today's Saturday, July 23rd. You may not see this till tomorrow, whatever. I'm going to try to also video my quilt sale video today, so be watching for that. This one will probably get uploaded first, though. Anyway, TMI. So I know a lot of the countries had really, really hot weather and droughts. We're kind of the opposite here. Not opposite, it's hot. But we haven't gotten out of the 90s, which is cold wave for Jacksonville. We've had days in the high 80s, but the humidity, because it's been raining, versus some places in the Midwest are in a drought. And my brother, who's now in Wichita, said it was supposed to be 106 one day last week. That's craziness. But here, we've been like 95, 94, but 90% humidity. So you put your makeup on and then it just kind of like slides off your face. You don't care about my makeup though, do you? Anyway, okay. I've got things sort of organized. I was putting together this video and I was like, gosh, I'm all over the place. Because what I usually do is I have a basket, and as the 2 weeks is progressing, if I get something in the mail or, win a raffle. I love Lenny from the Sable Stitchers. She tells her husband, oh, I won that in a raffle. Anything that I win in a raffle, which, by the way, you got to go watch the Sable Stitchers. It's Roberta and Lenny. They both are in Kansas City, so it's a great video. Anyway, she says when she brings home things that she won them in a raffle. So my raffle things I put in the basket. Then if I have any, other things that I want to talk about, I put them in the basket. Well, I had so many different categories of things in the basket that I was like, Carol, you need to get a little organized here because you're totally disorganized. Okay, what have I been stitching? That is what you're here for, right? Well, I'll show you what I've been stitching. You're going to think somebody else is in my seat here and that it's not really me. Which, by the way, I haven't changed my whatever here. Display, decor, tchotchkes, stuff. I leave it up till the end of July. Then in August I'll go more neutral. And I won't do fall till September because it's just not fall here ever. Till January. That's when we have our fall weather. Okay, so I'm on a mission to finish some of my whips. I told you last time I've been inspired by Yvette Gonzalez. She just keeps finishing whips, and it's like, okay, Carol, you gotta dig in. You love them. You started them because you loved them, and you, for some reason, went on to a new start instead of finishing them. So I'm not a monogamous stitcher, but sometimes once I get to a certain point on a sampler or a piece, then I just want to power through and finish it. So I have a number of things that I have a good amount of stitching finished. So those are the ones some of them I'm going to show you that I want to work on to finish. Does that make sense? Plus of my 55 whips, I think it's 55, I don't know, something like that. I went through and eliminated 11 of them because some of them were just like pieces at a retreat that I literally took 6 stitches in. That's not really a whip. So I eliminated 11, so I'm down to 44, I think. I just put an X by those because to me they're starts, but they're not whips. We got to get our terminology right. And then I picked up a piece that I absolutely love since it came out. I had it partially finished, and it's an over one piece. Where's Carol? And who is sitting in the seat talking to you? And it's the, let me get out the pattern. The chart, the pattern, I don't know, whatever we call them. This is the chart. It's the Summer Schoolhouse Lessons in Abecedarian. Summer Schoolhouse. This is a series that Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread released. When did she release it? Good question. I want to say maybe 2017, so 5 years ago. I bought them all, kitted them, started the house, and was like, oh. I stitch in hand with the sewing method, which means I'm always stitching from the top until I want to like end my thread. So I tried to stitch in hand over one. It's difficult. So I resigned myself to the fact to use a hoop. So I have a small hoop. I'll show you the piece in just a second. I haven't forgotten. I have a small hoop. I actually purchased this from Brenda Gervais at a retreat. I don't know if she still carries them on her website or not. Just a small hoop. It has this spring, so when you take it out, you just have to like hold the spring, pull it toward you. Easy for me to do. Of course, when you do it on camera, you can't do it. Anyway, you just kind of pull that with your finger, and that loosens the tension so you can get it in and out. So I finished those patriotic pieces last time, which I haven't fully finished, but what have I fully finished? Nothing in a while. And I decided to pick this up and just power through, and I finished it. So this is number 1 in the Summer Schoolhouse series by Brenda Gervais. I stitched it on the called for 28 count Lugana. Mushroom is the color. Mushroom Lugana. Lugana is an even weave. It's not linen. I'm not exactly sure what Lugana is. I think it's a blend, but I definitely think it has some cotton in it. So the first few stitches on the house were terrible, and then I got a little bit better, and by the time I got over here. Now, I have a secret. It's not a secret. I have a way of doing over one. I can't explain it to you because it's just too hard to explain. But if you go to Jean Farish, and I'll try to remember to link it. I wish I had a pencil. I don't have a pencil. I need to write down the things that I need to put in the description box. But anyway, if you go to Jean Farish's FlossTube videos, number 15, she shows how to stitch over one the way I do it. And that is to stitch every cross as you go. Now, some people will stitch, like a series, like if you were doing a house, and they'll go halfway with one leg of the cross and then come back. That's not what I did. Once I got the hang of really getting my rhythm going, then I was able to figure it out. So I didn't watch the Jean Farish. I kind of, and I'm not bragging, but I kind of figured it out on my own. And it's a way of doing your crosses so the thread on the back of your piece, so your back leg of your stitch that's on the back side of your piece is opposite to the weave. But if you'll go to Jean Farish number 15, you will see her demonstration, and she has a little diagram and everything. It's very easy to understand. So these are the colors I used. I think these are pretty much the colors for the whole series. I'm not going to start number 2 yet, but I definitely will. This is number 2, the girl and the guy in the middle part of the alphabet. And this is number 3, which is the schoolhouse. Well, no, I don't know. This one just says remember me. More of the alphabet. So there's 4 patterns altogether, and this is still available. And then this is the last one, the chart number 4, which has the end of the alphabet. And then this is the whole series. So there's 5 pieces plus this little horn book plus the strawberry. And I have a pretty big piece of the mushroom Lugana. That's widely available. 28 count mushroom Lugana. So I'm not going to start number 2 yet, but yeah, I did it. So then I thought, well, since I'm enjoying this over one, here's another one that Brenda Gervais did over one. This one is called Autumn in Amana, and I think we got this. We didn't get it last year at the Fall Farm Girl Gathering. It was the year prior. So it was in 2021 that we got this piece. And I think it's available now. And then the other one is Token of Love. And that is also over one. And that goes on top of a little box that looks like a little tiny dresser. The box is a Hobby Lobby box. So I have the box. And that was a whole nother thing I was going to start talking about, was things that I've bought the box for. I might show you a couple of those things I've bought the box for, but I haven't done the stitching to go in the box. But there's a few people that have displayed that Summer Schoolhouse series in this LaHaye's box. So once I have all of those finished, that's what I will do. So I don't know when I'll get to the next one, but sometime soon, hopefully. And then I have another piece, and this is a Blackbird piece called My Home. This is also over one, and this is on a little matchbox that we got at Country Sampler 2019 Summer Stitch Camp Retreat. And I have a start on that one. And that one is on Velt Lugana by Picture This Plus, the color Velt. I think it's Velt. I think. So that'll be the next thing I finish, and that is one of my whips. I've counted that as a whip. And yes, it's Velt Lugana from Picture This Plus. And these are the colors. I think these are for other Blackbird too, but because these would not be the colors for just that little over one piece. That'd be sort of silly. So that is definitely a want to get back to and finish. There was one other one. There's another one that's like Summer in Baltimore. I thought I got it out, but it's another Brenda Gervais. Has a house with a flag. Somebody recently I saw was working on that one. Let me just show you just a couple other pieces that I have the box for. This is gonna kind of be all over the map, but you get it. It's me. Let's see. Here's one. I have the box, and this is a, oh, who's that box by? Hold on, please. Lone Elm Lane. So I have this kitted. This isn't a whip. This is kitted. But this would be a fun one so that I could use that box. It's a with thigh needle and thread. It's called Wool and Flax. And you see the box, the lid slides. It's already that green color. You don't have to paint it. And it calls for 36 counts, so I don't have to adjust my stitching for that. Then I have this one. I have the box for this. Somebody recently showed they were going to start this. This is also with needle and thread. And this is called the Quaker Sewing Tray, which is also a very cute finish. I have the threads. I don't have any linen in here. This one actually calls for 32 count by Silk Weaver. So I'll have to fudge because I think you could do 36 and it would be a little bit more margin, but still be fine. Here's another one. Don't ask me why I haven't done this. It's kind of a sin, I believe. Not that God will judge me for that, but whatever. Saltbox quilt sampler, and I have the box for that. Brenda, I think, is one that has a really cute display. Brenda, the sampler stitcher. And that one I do have completely kitted. But I'm not allowing myself to do any of these until I get some more whips finished. So then I know a lot of people were stitching Christmas in July. So now we're on to topic number 2. The first one was over 1. And then it was boxes that go with our stitching. And now it's Christmas in July, which I'm not stitching. But if I was, I would work on these because I love them and I have the whole series. Complete with the buttons. This is hands-on design. It's just called hands-on design 12 days. So it's the 12 days of Christmas. Rings, swans and maids. Now each one of these would not be hard to do because there's not a lot of stitching. I even have the little hooks that the button goes on to hang them for your ornaments. Ladies and lords, hens and birds, partridge and doves. So I think you get 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 patterns, so I think you get 2 per pattern. I mean, I have the whole 9 yards here, folks. These are the little hangers. Home from the Holidays. Wire ornament hooks by Gervais. I don't know if you can still get these. I've had this stuff for a couple years. I have the threads. And I have a couple of different pieces of linen, so I'll have to see which one I like. They're both by Weeks. One is Red Pear, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but I think I'll do it on this one, this Red Pear, because I think that's a little bit lighter. The other one's a little bit dark. So yeah, if I was doing Christmas in July, I just might do those. So maybe they'll get touched in my real Christmas stitching. Sorry, all the scrunching, but... So I love those. I've pulled those before and thought, you know, I need to do that. The other thing I would do if I was doing Christmas in July is this Blackbird piece. It's called Frosty's Night Out. I know when this came out, everybody was like, that's Blackbird? Yeah, it's very cute and whimsical. It kind of reminds me of the Top Hat Uncle Sam that they did. Frosty's Night Out, I'm sure this is still available. I think it only came out in like 2021 or 2020. Well, 2019. So I have a piece of 32 count murky for that. That may be fine. She uses 36 count murky. I'll have to see if I have any 36. Because it's made into a drum, and then you can put the drum into the snowman's hat. Not his hat. You have to paint it, but it's pieces and parts. And then if I was doing Christmas, which I'm not, But if I was, I would be doing these stockings. There's quite a few people that are doing them, and I love them. And then, you know, it's like, why haven't I love this one. This is all in the Home for the Holidays Blackbird book. And you can see the stockings, they have the alphabet. I want to say it calls for 32 count. But one strand. I could do that. 32 count French roast, which is just a neutral by R&R. There's not a whole lot of stitching on these. Here's one close up. Home for the Holidays by Blackbird. This book is still available, I believe. So if I was doing Christmas, I certainly would get back to my Winter Rose Manor. I started it, counted it as a whip, then changed my fabric. Because originally the pattern I received, we got at one of the Amana Farm Girl retreats, and she originally called for Dirty by just the Zweigart color Dirty, and I really tried it. It was like too dark. So then I talked to Brenda, and she said that she has since changed the color, but my friend Kay Dunlap, she did it, and she brought her frame sample to Amana last fall, and she did it on R&R Winter Brew. So even though I had started it, I didn't have a lot of stitches on it, so I will be restarting this for sure this year, even though I'm not doing it in July. I for sure am going to be doing that. There's also a cute piece that went with it. So this is Winter Rose Manor by Brenda Gervais, still available. I have it in a cute bag. I'm not sure who made this for me. I remember her name, but it escapes me now. I'm sorry. Anyway, that was a gift bag. What else have I been stitching? I'm back to that. Well, I had a finish. Oh, I was supposed to show you this when I talked about boxes. Okay, so I finished. I've been showing this every single video, I think. It's Come Into My Garden by Blackbird Designs. This pattern has been re-released, finished. This was a retreat piece in 2019 at Country Sampler Stitch Camp. Barb was our teacher. Alma did not come because I think one of her sons was getting married or something. So this has Come Into My Garden. I've shown you this, my progress on this, I think, every video. You're probably tired of seeing it. Like, well, when is she going to finish that? And I am, for the most part, finished. I did not fill in the name. At one time, I thought about putting Barb's name, you know, kind of in memory of her. I don't really want to do that. Someday my kids are going to go, who's Barb Adams? Lindsay probably would know, but my grandkids wouldn't know. If these things get passed down and not end up at a Goodwill. Anyway, I'm going to put my grandmother, at least one of my grandmothers. Not that I'm going to put multiple names, but I haven't chosen yet which grandmother. I think I'm going to put my mom's mom. If I do that, I need to get her birth and death dates from my sister. So that's why I haven't finished it. But other than that, the whole thing is fine. So that little cartouche there is where you put the name of whoever you want to put. And I'm just going to put B in the year, like for born. I think she was born in 1890. No. 1890 something. I know she died in the mid-70s because I remember where I was living when I came home for her funeral. So anyway, it's finished. It's a fabulous border. It is a fabulous border. So you want to see it a little closer? But those little pops of blue just are fabulous on this. Can you see it really well? I don't know. It's done on 36 count Velt by Pictures Plus, which is very green. Yeah, there's a good, that's what color it is right there. Sometimes 36 count Picture This Plus is tight, so it almost feels like you're stitching on 40. This was not. This was kind of loose. So anyway, but what I wanted to say was it's kind of like I don't know if I picked it this way or if it just happened, but the center of it, like by the cartouche and the basket of flowers under the house, are like a lighter part of the linen. And then the outsides are more darker. See it how it has the modeling along the edges. So this, you can kind of see the basket is a little bit light. The fabric behind, the linen behind is a little bit lighter. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's definitely one that I will soon, hopefully soon, get some things framed. So it's done on 36 count Velt, which was the called for. It was kitted by Country Sampler. So I don't think it was part of our retreat piece, but it was, we got the pattern, then we could buy the kit to go with it. So these are the very blackbird-ish colors. And then I remembered that I had never shown, I don't think I ever showed you this, which is Willing Hands. It's in the Sewing Club book. This one was a retreat piece, also in 2019 at the attic. Blackbird came to the attic, and I canceled at the kind of in the last couple weeks because Lindsay was in the hospital. But I got all the kits, and this box was part of the kit. Oh, I just have some fabric scraps in there. It's not frame, I mean, it's not applied the greatest, but I really enjoyed stitching this piece. So that's one of the rare retreat pieces that I actually finished. So that is that. Okay, now I'm going to do haul, I think. And then I'm going to talk about some whips that I would like to work on. And I'm going to pick out of this group of samplers some things to actually get finished. Sorry, I just shook the table. Okay, so haul. I just today got my Traditional Stitches at one point started a Lakeside Linen Fabric of the Month kit. And then because they were having trouble getting Lakeside Linen, they kind of, you know, they let us know, I think her name is Janice, you know, this month we can't get it, it's on hold. And so it's not been a monthly thing, but she will invoice you when she gets some in. Everybody gets different, I believe. So, and I'm really happy that this is what I got. So this is 40 count Vintage Lentil by Lakeside, and it's a fat quarter. It's a subtle green. It's very close to Alcott by Needle and Flax. Linen and Flax? Needle and Flax by Rachel. So I was very happy to get that. That just came. And then I recently, in the last few days, went back and watched Valerie stitching in the barn. I don't think her neighbor is still her neighbor, because I think at the time, 3 years ago, that she made this video, she said that her neighbor was going to be moving. But her neighbor, so this is Valerie Stitching in the Barn. And by the way, Valerie, you haven't done a regular video in a while. We're missing you. You need to come back to us. Anyway, she interviewed her neighbor, who is a sampler stitcher extraordinaire. So this is like a video that was like maybe 3 years ago. It's one of the first few that Valerie did. And so she does 2 or 3, where one of them she walks around Kay's house with her and looks at various samplers, and another one she sits down and interviews her and then also looks at a lot of her samplers. Well, these are samplers from Scarlet Letter and a sampler and exemplary that have been around for a while. They're classic museum type reproductions. Anyway, it really, I decided to watch it. Somebody mentioned it on a FlossTube I was watching, and I can't remember who it was. So I decided to rewatch it, and I was so motivated to get out as many of my sampler whips as I possibly can. And I've decided that instead of just sampler September, I'm going to do sampler August and September. So starting August 1st, which is a week from Monday, or maybe next weekend, who knows, I might cheat myself, start early before the gun goes off to start the race. Anyway, I'm going to really concentrate on sampler whips. So I know I'm talking about haul, so just follow the winding road. We'll get back to our where we started. So in watching that, her husband makes her frames. This is the neighbor of Valerie Stitching in the Barn. And she pins with these pins that I found on Amazon. And I'm going to try them. So I bought some. So the pin, and some of them are kind of, so I got the smaller size. And they look like, oh, great. Well, we'll just have to hope we find that one, because otherwise that might hurt to step on. This is how they're shaped. See that? So they have this like hooky type. It's almost like part of a paper clip that you pulled apart, and they're sharp. So she uses these to pin. Oh, I found that one. Good. She uses these to pin to the foam core when she does her own framing. So that whole reference to those videos were to tell you about these pins, in addition to show you some whips that I want to work on. I hope I haven't lost you in my winding trail of craziness. The other thing I got was I had placed an order a year and a half ago, I don't know, with traditional stitches for a fat half of Vintage Light Exemplar. Now, traditional stitches invoices you when they ship. So in other words, I didn't prepay and sit and wait and my money's gone for all that time. I ordered, and periodically I would get little updates that say, we still know, when we get it, we'll ship it to you. So I finally got it. And it's a fat half of Vintage Light Exemplar. This is like classic sampler fabric, I think. If you want a good light, for a sampler that has a lot of colors. So that is Vintage Light Exemplar. So that was, again, part of my raffle winnings. And then I got my Threads of History Club. So I've done a lot of Blackbird here. Talked about a lot of Blackbird. Anyway, this is Lydia Cohagen by Blackbird. This was from Country Sampler. It's the Threads of History Club. This is the first for the year. I actually saw this. It was sitting back in the kind of their work area at Country Sampler, and it was framed, and I said, oh, what is that? And they graciously said, oh, that's your next Threads of History Club. And of course, Country Sampler just packages everything so wonderfully. I think you can get this even if you're not in the club, but I think you have to wait till all the club pieces are mailed, and you have to pay extra. So if you're in the club, you get it. You don't know what you're getting, you know, but trust me, everything I've ever gotten from Country Sampler is fabulous. It's not a club that I've ever regretted. And each year they name it different. You know, this one's Threads of History. It was Schoolgirl Samplers one year. And so anyway, I have a friend that I showed this to, and she called and she said, oh, I can get it, but it's after everybody else gets theirs that's in the club. So you may check and be on a waiting list to maybe get that. That was all my haul. So now I'm going to show you things I want to work on. Are you ready? The first one I picked up, and I don't know if I've shown this before. I have a little bit of a start, not a huge start. This is Chessie and Me. And this one is Mary Lindsay, 1828. I believe I bought it as a kit, but I'm not 100% sure. Mary Lindsay. The chart is available by Chessie and Me. I love this type of sampler that has the alphabet and then all the good stuff. Which, by the way, I'm hoping I don't know if I'll get it done by next time. We'll see. I think I'm going to redo all these on my wall and put out some of the ones that you don't see as much, like my Rachel Howell, my Isabella Fox, Sarah Elizabeth Brooks, Martha Pudsey. Those are all on a wall that I'm looking at. So I'm thinking about putting those here and rearranging. Anyway, this is my progress on Mary Lindsay. So I have a little bit done. And it's done on 40 count. It looks like parchment by Weeks. It's definitely a Zweigart base. Let's just see. Oh no, it says Lakeside. Vintage light exemplar, but mine is 40 count. I know that for a fact. I don't know if this was a kit or not. But this is what I'm picking up tonight to work on. Well, let me just see, did I write the... No, this is before I used to write, or I used to not write. Now I do write. I get these little tags, and then on the back, it says Mary Lindsay, Chessie and Me. On the back should be what linen it is, but it calls for vintage light exemplar, so I'm sure that's what this is. So anyway, this is what I'm working on tonight, and I'm going to work on that till it's finished. By golly. So that is, now this isn't really a sampler, and I showed you this last time, so you probably don't want to see it again, but this is 1,000 Hills, another whip that I really want to get back to. This, I believe, is on Winter Brew. Yep. Mine's 40 count, though. So once I finish Mary Lindsay, I'm going to be monogamous on these until they're done. Because I want to get my whip count down, and I want to be able to have them finished. That's simple. Here's another one I haven't shown you in a while. Two that I haven't shown you in a while. Again, these aren't samplers necessarily, but they're ones that I want to get finished. So if I work on some of these in the next soon. So this is Brick House Sampler by With Thy Needle and Thread. Love that red house. I think this was, yeah, this was originally stitched on 28 count mushroom Lugana on one. But that's not how I started it. So I think I'm doing it on a piece of, it's either 40 or 46. So it'll be bigger than the picture, but this is where I am. Now I'm calling that a whip. It doesn't have a lot of stitches in it, but To me, that's enough to call it a whip. And this one is, here's another one that, what did I do with it? I get these all confused here if I'm not careful. Here's another one. This is the Scarlet House, and a lot of my wanna stitches are Scarlet House. By far, Tanya's designs are like some of my very favorite, her reproductions. So this one is Ann Long. Originally it was on Vintage Exemplar, which is a little darker than this, but I got the kit from the attic, and they kitted it with 37 count Wild Honey by Access Commodities. So this is my start. I don't know, is that a whip? Maybe, maybe not. I like stitching on this. It's Wild Honey, 37 count. And these are the silks for that one. I'm just afraid some of these lighter silks are not going to show up. So I may restart this. If I do, then this will not be a whip, obviously. It'll be a new start. I don't know. They may show up. Sometimes you have to take just a single strand and do a few stitches like in the border, or not the border, but the margin, and see, is this going to show up? You know, if it's just the inside of a flower, you know, that usually doesn't matter because the flower might be pink and then the inside little dabble-do-ya on the inside of a flower is like yellow or gold or whatever. And obviously I'm having a difficult time here. That's some scrunching. And then another one that I'm ashamed I haven't done any more on is my Anne Uffendell by Hands Across the Sea. This would be a hard one for me to just like pick up and finish. So I haven't really decided. I think this one will be like my Jane Atkinson. You've seen that 100 times by Scarlet Letter, the real bright one. This one may, and I have the border outlined in, and I'm working on the flowers on the border. Obviously I did one little tiny star in blue. This is, I'm stitching this with a Versoix that I have in a little book. And I know I'm stitching this with the called for, so let me just tell you quickly. 40 count pecan butter by Lakeside. You know, Lakeside's becoming a little bit more available. Now, you may not see it on 123 Stitch or, you know, but there are some shops that are starting to get in some shipments of Lakeside. So, you know, call your local shop. Maybe they can put an order in and, you know, you might be able to get some. So that is a whip. Won't be a work on it till it's done, though. And that's, I'm kind of looking for ones that I can work on them till they're done. So I'm, you know, I might put some effort into that, but at this point it won't be a work on it till it's done. Another one, and I think I saw Kathy on Linen and Scraps. Is that who I saw? No. Somebody showed this one. This is Anne Oriole, which has a wonderful nickname. It's by GGR. It's fabulous. You can still get the conversion, I believe, from the conversion colors from Country Sampler. But this is on a really dark linen. This is barely a start. So, is it a whip? Probably not. But there it is. Another one that I won't work on till it's finished, but definitely needs some attention. And these are the colors. I believe this is a piece of Dixie Sampler fabric. Apple butter, I believe. She sells her linens on Facebook. And she's sort of like StitchFolk. You have to like have fast fingers. Which, by the way, Barrie Hamby StitchFolk has done her first FlossTube. Guys, you gotta go watch it. It's so good. You know, I've never talked to Barrie, so I've never met her in person. So sometimes when you watch somebody's first video, their voice can be, you know, whatever. It can be something that's very normal or common. Maybe that's the right word. But her voice is so calming. It's like she should be doing Headspace because her voice is so soft, calming, and beautiful. And her samplers she shows, oh, Barrie. We can't wait for number 2. So go check out her her video. I have no idea what this is in here for. Oh, I know. Maybe I know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Oh, yeah. This was a piece. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on. I'm still talking about whips. And then I'll show a few. If I'm good, I can get a new start. This is Ann Rayner, which is no longer in something you can find. It's originally by Threads of Time, and I need to finish it. Sarah Stewart Hardiman by Needlework Press is very close to this, but this is Ann Rayner, out of print. This, I don't know that this would be a work on it till it's done, but it could be. I did get some work. I got all the flowers, the top part of the flowers finished when I picked it up the last time, which who knows when that was. So yeah, I need to get back to that for sure. Maybe a work on it till it's finished. I don't know. I have no floss in there with it. Oh yeah, I do. It's right here. Duh. It's mostly NPIs. I think I got somebody's conversion for that. I think I have a combination of Paulette and Paulette Stewart on her blog. She had a conversion for Ann Rayner, and maybe Tanya also had one. I got a lot of junk here, guys. Okay, this one is definitely a work on it till it's finished. So there's like four or five that are work on it till it's finished. And this is really close to being done. This is Sarah Fletcher by Hands Across the Sea. And this one is on, I think it's, is it Dirty Teacup? I think it's, no, it's not Dirty Teacup. It's, oh, come on, Carol. It's one of Rachel's Needle and Flax linens. It's Thornfield. And I'm using Averiswa silks. I originally was going to use the DMC, but the silks I thought were prettier. And this is how far I am on that. So that one is really close. You know, there's just some stuff at the bottom. So in other words, I'm kind of down to here. I need to do that and finish the cartouche. It's very, very pretty. And it's not huge. And it's very wrinkled. Sarah Fletcher by Hands Across the Sea. So I think after I finish that, what was the Chessie and Me? Lindsay, whatever, something sampler. 1838 or something. Oh gosh, it's the mind. Goes bye-bye. I just had it. Carol. Mary Lindsay. So after I finish Mary Lindsay, I'm going to work on Sarah Fletcher. Because those are ones that I have that won't take a huge amount of time. The next few are Scarlet oh, and I just dumped them out. 50 minutes. The next few are Scarlet House, Jane Cowie. This will be a work on it till it's finished. Even though I have a lot left to do, it's gonna get done. I love it. It's wrinkled, sorry. And here's the chart. This is by Scarlet House. I'm using NPI Silks and 40 count Meadow Rue by Lakeside. It's gorgeous. Scarlet House, Jane Cowie, 1850. Beautiful. I'd love to think in August I could finish 3, like Jane Cowie, Mary Lindsay, Sarah Fletcher. Wouldn't that be phenomenal? Yeah, right, Carol. The other one that's going to be a work on it till it's finished is this one, which is Hannah Tingy. Also by the Scarlet House, and I can't remember what I'm using for this one. And I'm using 40 count. Could you write it any smaller? Buttercream by Lakeside. So I need to go work on this and get this one done too. The house is done. You know, I have to do another reindeer, a lot of over 1. Whoops. I'd like to see a blank piece of paper. It's not really blank, it's the back of a page. So there's quite a bit left to do, but definitely doable. Because the border's done. I think the border flowers are done too. Hold on. See, this is why I do the border first. I get all that out of the way. And then sometimes when I do a border, I just do the outline. And then I go back periodically and work on the flowers. But I don't want to wait till the end and have to go back and do all the flowers because I don't want to. And I'm the boss of me sometimes. So yes, see, all of the flowers have their little, whatever those are. I don't know. Are they flowers? Are they strawberries? They're not strawberries. Maybe they are strawberries. No, a strawberry border is the one that has like a long flower and then I think, not flower, but fruit. Is strawberries a fruit? Is it one of those weird ones that's a vegetable? I don't think so. Tomatoes are a fruit, right? They're not a vegetable. There's another fruit that's really a vegetable. I really digressed. Anyway, so there you go. I still have another video to do. I'll be slap happy by the end of that one. So Jane Cowie, and then I have this crazy thing that this is my oldest whip. People talk about your oldest whip, and they bring out something from Better Homes and Gardens, and 1987. I don't have any of those. I don't know if I threw them away or if I never started them. I don't know. But this is Ellen Strick. And actually, the antique is, sometimes when Brenda and Laura film, the antique is behind them. Ellen Strick, 1849. It's beautiful, but a lot of it's over one. But you know, now that I'm just this little expert on over one, which is very easy on Mushroom Lagana, not so easy, but still. Now there are some people that would have trashed this by now. I'm not one of those people. I cannot throw away all this effort. I don't know. Is it me? Am I just crazy? Ooh, my voice sounds a little tinny. So there it is. I need to finish it. This is on 46 count. That's part of the issue. 46 count, and I started Jesus Savior with a full cross on the over one. So then I feel compelled to do all of the over one as a full cross. I need to finish that. If I'm very good, then maybe at some point I can have a new start. So here would be my new starts. I've shown you these before. This is Francis Eden by the Handwork. I don't think this is still available, but I don't know. It doesn't have any over one except the very, very, very trailer here at the bottom, which technically could be left off, although it does say. Whatever it says is very small. And it's hard to read. Hold, please. I just want to do this. I want to... It's craziness. The heaven and heaven of heavens, less the house that I have built. I think I'm missing something. Cannot contain the now how much more the house that I have built. Anyway, I just love that checkered house. I just want to start this, but I'm trying to be disciplined. And you might be able to get this from the attic. I originally got this from the attic. I don't know when, but I got it from the pattern from the attic. If I'm good, and I originally told Lisa Kindred Stitcher, I said, let's stitch that for September, or let's start that for September sampler stitching. I have a huge piece of parchment by Weeks with the Zweigart base. I have all of the flosses. These are cottons. And it's the Rose Wreath Sampler by GGR. Oh. This is fabulous. Now that's the antique. It's a mere 300 by 427. So finished, size of the fabric. Okay, this is just the design size. It's 15 by 21 and a half. Technically, you could put that on a fat quarter of 40 count because your fat quarter is 18 by, and sometimes they'll be 19. So then you would have 2 inches on each side. But if it was 18, you'd have 1.5 inches on each side. 21 and a half. So you would, a fat quarter is 27, 26 or 27. So technically you could fit this on a fat quarter. It's just fabulous. It would take up an entire fat quarter with just, 1.5 inches all the way around. I first saw this piece finished by Reese, who is from Australia. Once in a while, I'll get a peek of her on the Cruel Gobelins. I think it's Gobelin, because I think it's the Gobelin stitch. And cruel is in cruel work. Not like, don't be so cruel. Anyway. So, her very first floss tube, Reese, Reecie, she showed this finished. I was in love right then and there. And I liked the sampler too. No, anyway. Oh, the only other thing that I would really, really, really like to start, and I don't have a color picture because I just don't. It's a PDF, so. This one is by Whilst Iris Naps. It's Agnes Lyle. I wish I had a color picture, but the house ends up white. But go to whilstirisnapsdesigns.com. And the other person I've seen finish it is the Contented Stitcher, Kim Goldman. She has it finished. But it calls for, gosh, what does it call for? I can't remember. Hold on. Don't panic. Brenda's Brew by R&R. And Brenda's Brew was also used for, or was called for in her little jack-o'-lantern, whatever, little booklet that had all the fall and Halloween smalls. So I had a piece in there that's huge. I mean, it's plenty big enough for both. Because this finishes, I think this is 40 count. This is 151 by 201. So on 40 count, it's 7.5 by 10. So there would be still plenty of room for my printer kind of crunched it. Anyway, I really have to stitch from my iPad because I printed the page so you could see it, and I still haven't gathered the threads for this, but for some reason our printer doesn't show the graph. When you print a chart, it doesn't show the graph, which is kind of difficult to count if you don't have a graph. Anyway, that's all I have. Oh, I do have one more thing I need to start at some point. This was the Scottish Sampler Stitch Along by Northumberland House. And I got the stuff, kitted it with the DMC, but I haven't started it yet. Got the thread drop. This was a while ago that I got this, so I haven't. Sorry, crunchy. This is the one that has this beautiful bird on it. So that's taken from the sampler. So it has these beautiful blues, reds, it's DMC, and the linen is 40 count Sandstone by Northumberland House. It's called the Scottish Sampler Stitch Along. And there again, I'd have to stitch that from my iPad too. This one is not huge. And we're supposed to be posting pictures of our progress in the cell. 188 by 302. Oh, so it's pretty long. 13.4 by 21.5. So that'll be a nice kind of skinny one, but that's what it looks like. I don't know if there's still openings or not. Here, this is a better picture. It's by Northumberland House. And that's what it looks like. Lots of alphabets. That bird right here is the one that's red. But I don't have a color printer. Nor do I have one that prints the graph. So I either stitch it on my iPad or I go to Office, whatever, and Max or Depot or something and get it printed. So that is all I have for stitching. Thanks for coming back. I am going to video my quilt sale today. I don't know when it'll get uploaded. My husband has taken pictures. There's 14 quilts that I want to sell. And I also have a giveaway, a book from Red Crinoline Quilts called The Quilt Club that she gave me, Paula gave me to give away. And I'll just give you a little heads up. There's going to be two ways you could purchase a quilt. Either you finish, which means you get the piece top the backing and the binding. So you would have to add batting, which is, you know, if you're not a quilter, that's the inner part that makes it smushy, lofty, or I finish. And obviously there's a price difference if I finish. And there's some pastels. There's one fall one. There's a couple bright ones. There's an Aunt Gracie one. They're all different sizes. Some are small, lap. Some, one is almost a queen. If I finish, then, you know, you would go ahead and pay when the website goes live. And then you would have to wait for me to finish, but I should be able to finish them within 4 to 6 weeks. Easy. Because 14 is why I'm only starting with 14. Because if it takes me 2 days to finish each one, that's 28 days. But I do have other customer quilts in the meantime. So anyway, that is coming later today. First, I'm going to get some nourishment. Let's see, it's 12:40 and I haven't eaten anything yet. I don't eat breakfast. Makes me sick to my stomach if I do. Anyway, whatever. Like you care. Now you're babbling, Carol. So anyway, the reason it'll take a while for him to upload it is because he has the pictures that he's taken. In other words, if I show you a quilt on a video, it's hard to see exactly what it looks like. So he's taken full-size pictures of it, or pictures that show the full size of it, and that he's going to insert into the video. So all of that takes extra time when he uploads a video. But this one should be uploaded today, tomorrow, Monday. I don't know. All of that is just nonsense talking, Carol. So anyway, I hope you have a good day. The rest of the day, I hope wherever you are, you can stay cool somewhat. Not have to pay an arm and a leg. Our electric bill came in. It's just like sky high. I was like, holy moly. I'm going to have to take out a loan just to pay for air conditioning our house. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, hope you have a good day. Hope you get a lot of stitching done. Get some relaxation and stay cool. So I will see you in 2 weeks. Love you. Bye.